The wind cut through the dusty frontier town like a blade, carrying snowflakes that settled on tired shoulders and broken hopes as the crowd gathered around the wooden auction platform, their breath rising in white clouds while a woman stood tall despite the cold, her thin coat barely shielding her from the winter or the shame pressed upon her by watchful eyes. 7 children huddled close to her legs, their small hands gripping her sleeves as if letting go would mean vanishing forever. Whispers rolled through the crowd calling her unlucky, cursed, too much trouble for any man to claim, and the auctioneer's voice rang out, sharp and indifferent, reducing a life of love, loss, and sacrifice into numbers meant to be shouted and forgotten. Bids came slow and careless, each one heavier than the last as the children's faces fell lower with every pause, until a sudden silence swallowed the square when a large, rugged cowboy stepped forward, his boots crunching against the frozen ground, his coat thick with fur and years of hard living, eyes steady not with desire but resolve. He studied the woman not like property but like a storm survivor, someone who had stood when the world demanded she kneel, and without raising his voice he named a price that turned heads and tightened throats. $300 spoken calmly as if it were nothing. Gasps rippled through the crowd as the gavel slammed down and the auction ended. Yet no chains followed, no orders barked. Instead the cowboy turned to the woman and simply said it was time to go. The children followed cautiously expecting cruelty but finding silence instead. The ride out of town was long and cold yet strangely safe, and when they reached his land there was no locked door waiting, only a warm fire, clean water, and food laid out as if he had been preparing for them long before the auction ever began. Days passed and the woman worked not because she was commanded but because she chose to, healing slowly as the children laughed again under open skies. The cowboy never touched her without permission, never raised his voice, and never treated her like something bought. Instead he taught the children how to ride, how to read tracks, how to stand tall when life pushed back, and when neighbors whispered that no man paid that much without expecting obedience, he answered by opening his home to widows, hiring men fairly, and turning his land into a refuge where fear had no claim. Seasons changed and the woman's strength returned sharper than before. She began trading, helping others, building a small school from spare wood, and when sickness struck the town it was her remedies and steady hands that saved lives, forcing the same people who once bid on her silence to now stand in gratitude, until one day the truth spread faster than any rumor, that the cowboy had never bought a wife but had bought time, safety, and a future for a broken family. And when the woman finally stood beside him not as property but as partner, the West understood something it had long forgotten, that the strongest choices are not made with guns or gold, but with quiet courage. And what followed did not just change her fate, it changed the soul of the town forever.